Hey everyone, welcome. Get comfortable, and let's get into tonight's Reddit stories. A bride invites her sister to be her maid of honor, and slowly watches every single wedding moment get taken over by one heartbreaking thing that happened 3 years ago. When that grief turns into rules, demands, and even uninviting a pregnant bridesmaid, the bride finally snaps. Now the whole family's split down the middle over who actually crossed the line. Am I the asshole for telling my sister not to come to my wedding if she kept bringing up her miscarriage? 3 years ago, my younger sister Jen had a miscarriage at 9 weeks. She and her partner Scott were devastated. I was there for them as much as I could be, but it was a really tough time for them. A few months later, Scott left Jen. Jen told me it was because of the miscarriage. She and Scott had a close-knit group of friends, and I found it odd that no one had checked on her, so I called her best friend to suggest a girls' night. That's when her friend told me the real reason they broke up. Jen had slept with someone else. When Scott confronted her, she blamed the miscarriage. Fast forward to 9 months ago. I got engaged and asked Jen to be my maid of honor. At our engagement party, Jen became inconsolable when she saw our friend's baby. The entire focus of the night, everyone's, including mine, ended up on Jen. I wasn't upset with her at the time. I figured she was imagining what all these big family events would have been like if she'd had her baby, so I gave her a lot of grace. Since then, anytime something to do with the wedding comes up, she brings up her miscarriage, but only at events related to my wedding. I asked her to help me pick flowers, and she completely lost it when she saw baby blue roses. She's convinced she was having a boy, and we had to leave. When we went wedding dress shopping, she picked out a maternity bridesmaid dress and asked to try it on so she could see how she would have looked. When she did that, I remember thinking, she's actually lost it, and I had to walk away when she started stuffing a cushion up her dress. I've tried to talk to her about going back to counseling, but she insists this is a normal part of the grieving process. She planned my hen party, which I was really grateful for, but I later found out she'd sent everyone a list of rules. The rules included things like no talking about pregnancy or kids, no wearing baby blue, and so on. I confronted her about it, but I was gentle. I suggested counseling again and told her I was there for her, but I also said that if she wanted to impose any other rules on anything to do with my wedding, she had to come to me first. It all came to a head when one of my friends, who is also a bridesmaid, announced she was pregnant. She'll be 7 months along at the wedding. After the announcement, Jen called her and told her it would be best if she didn't come, because Jen couldn't maintain her peace if she was forced to be reminded of the loss of her child. I completely lost it when I found out. I told Jen she was using her miscarriage to get attention, and that if she made one more demand, or made a single comment about it at anything wedding-related, she was uninvited. And in either case, she was no longer my maid of honor. Since then, Jen has been telling everyone that I dumped her from the wedding for being too upset about the loss of her baby. In retaliation, I've told everyone and anyone who will listen the real reason she and Scott broke up. Now half our friends and family think I'm an asshole, and half think she is. I'm still horrifically angry and stuck in this place where I'm not sure if I'm rightly angry, or if I should be more understanding. Am I the asshole? Edit. A couple of people have said I went too far by telling people the real reason she broke up with Scott. And I can accept that, but just for context, I had multiple people reach out to me after she spoke to them first. Each one basically said I was being a bitch for dumping her from the wedding because she'd had a miscarriage, and said something along the lines of, she's lost her partner and her sister because she lost her baby. I felt like I needed to correct them, that she actually lost neither of us because of the miscarriage. She lost us because of her actions since, and her blaming the miscarriage is part of a pattern of behavior. I didn't go into details, I just said, Actually, she lost Scott because she cheated on him, and she lost me because she uninvited one of my bridesmaids without my knowing, because she is pregnant. I was upset and hurt that they were saying this to me, and also that Jen wanted everyone to think I was the sort of person who would dump my sister because she lost a baby. So I lashed out by telling them what actually happened with Scott. I suppose it was my way of defending myself. But again, if the consensus is that this was too far, I'll accept that and take it on the chin. Edit 2. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. Someone mentioned the phrase weaponized grief, and seeing that written down, that's what it feels like. She clearly didn't deal with her grief at the time she had the miscarriage, but I'm surprised it's presented itself now in the way that it has. Part of me wonders if she's seeing me get married and thinking it should have been her and Scott. Maybe her feelings of guilt over what she did, combined with not dealing with her grief, have caused her to have some sort of mental break. I'm not sure, but I'm glad to see the consensus seems to be that I was right to set the boundaries I did. That gives me some measure of peace as we get closer to the wedding. Although if it comes to it and she's not there, I will still be absolutely devastated. The top comments are pretty blunt about the sisters' behavior and the timeline. A lot of people point out that the miscarriage was at 9 weeks, 3 years ago, and while that is absolutely still a real loss and something people grieve, they feel it doesn't excuse everything that's happened since. One highly upvoted commenter stresses that early miscarriage is sadly common, and that Jen seems to be using it as a kind of pity hostage over everyone's heads, especially around the wedding and even over people who are currently pregnant or may have their own fertility struggles. Several commenters latch onto the idea that this doesn't even look like grief anymore so much as weaponized grief. They say Jen appears to be making the miscarriage her entire personality and using it to gain sympathy and control situations, like banning baby talk, colors, and even trying to disinvite a pregnant bridesmaid from someone else's wedding. People also note that Jen blamed the miscarriage for cheating on Scott, and that pattern of deflecting responsibility is what really bothers them. Commenters say she clearly needs serious therapy to unpack not just the pregnancy loss, but also the end of her relationship and the guilt and shame tied up in all of that. They think it's unhealthy that every major event, especially OP's wedding, is now being run by this one tragedy. As for OP telling people the real reason Scott left, some think that might have been a step too far, but many understand it as a defensive reaction. From their perspective, once Jen started telling everyone that OP dumped her because she lost her baby, OP was correcting the record. Jen lost Scott because she cheated, and she lost maid of honor status because she tried to uninvite a pregnant bridesmaid. Overall, the comment section largely supports OP's boundaries and sees Jen's behavior as manipulative and in need of professional help. What do you think? Was OP justified in pulling her sister as maid of honor and laying down that ultimatum? Or did she cross a line by exposing the cheating to defend herself? How would you handle a family member whose grief keeps taking over your big life events? Let me know your thoughts and verdicts in the comments below. And if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Imagine watching your own brother walk away from his child. And then, years later, he suddenly storms back in, demanding custody and expecting you to cover for him in court. What are you supposed to do when family loyalty tag crashes straight into a little kid's stability? Am I the asshole for testifying against my brother in a custody case after he abandoned his child? I, 25 female, have an older brother, 28 male. Growing up, my mom spoiled him a lot and still has a habit of excusing his behavior because that's her son. This whole situation has completely fractured my family, and now I'm being told I'm a terrible sister. My brother was in a long-term relationship with his ex-girlfriend Lena, 27 female. They have a son together who is now 5. Lena and I became very close during their relationship, and even after they broke up, I stayed involved in my nephew's life. I babysit, I help with school stuff, and I'm basically one of his safe adults. When my nephew was around 2, my brother left. And not just emotionally, he abandoned them. He moved out, stopped helping financially, barely called, and eventually cut contact entirely after getting involved with another woman. Lena struggled a lot during that time, but she stepped up and did everything for their child on her own. My brother never paid consistent child support and would disappear for months at a time. Fast forward to last year. My brother suddenly reappears, saying he misses his son and wants to be involved again. However, his first move wasn't apologizing or easing back in. He was demanding Lena's current address and threatening legal action. Lena had moved for safety and stability and didn't want him showing up unannounced, so she asked me not to give it out. When my brother asked me for her address, I refused. I told him that if he wanted to see his son, he needed to go through proper legal channels and rebuild trust. He accused me of choosing his ex over him and said I was betraying family. Eventually, he found her address on his own and immediately filed for custody, asking for far more than he'd ever been involved enough to handle. The case went to court, and I was asked to testify. I told the truth, that he had been absent for years, that Lena was the primary and consistent parent, and that my brother only reappeared after starting a new relationship and wanting to look like a family man. The judge ruled against him. He didn't lose all rights, but he did not get the custody arrangement he wanted. Now my brother is furious with me. He says I should have lied, or at least kept my mouth shut because we're siblings. My mom agrees with him and keeps telling me I ruined his chance to start over and be a better father. She says family loyalty should come before outsiders, even when kids are involved. I don't feel guilty for telling the truth, especially when my nephew's stability was on the line. But being iced out by my mom and constantly attacked by my brother is wearing me down. So, am I the asshole for refusing to help my brother and testifying against him in court? The top comments are very clear. They say you absolutely did stick by family, just not the family your mom expected. In their eyes, you chose your nephew, the vulnerable child, over an adult who had already walked away. People point out that you did show family loyalty, but you aimed it where it mattered most. At the 5-year-old whose physical and emotional well-being is actually on the line. Commenters say your brother noped out for years, and you refused to reward that by helping him rewrite history in court. A lot of the anger from Reddit is directed at your mom and brother. Many believe your mom raised him to think he'd never face real consequences, and that's why he feels entitled now. Entitled to custody, entitled to your silence, and entitled to your support no matter what he's done. Several commenters say the child's well-being should always come first, every single time, and they thank you for standing by your nephew when it counted. They suggest that the backlash you're getting from your mom and brother is actually proof you did the right thing. And they say if people like that are mad at you, you're probably on the right side of this. What do you think? Is it a betrayal to testify honestly against your own sibling in court? Or is protecting a child's stability more important than family loyalty? Let me know your verdict in the comments and tell me what you would have done in this situation. Imagine going to every school event, park day, and family outing, and spending the whole time glued to a bench, guarding a small army of giant water bottles. So what happens when one more person decides you're their personal drink caddy? And you finally say no. Am I the asshole for refusing to hold my sister-in-law's giant drink bottles? My wife and our 3 daughters are obsessed with those massive Stanley and Frank Green drink bottles, the kind that basically take a full workday to finish. Whenever we go to community events, parks, school stuff, literally anywhere that doesn't have a table, I somehow become the designated drink bottle valet. It's not ideal, but up until recently, it was at least manageable. Then my sister-in-law moved to town. She and her 2 daughters also love these oversized drink bottles. She noticed that I'm always the guy holding everyone else's, and she started casually adding hers to the pile. So now, at events, I'm stuck sitting on a park bench guarding 7 giant drink bottles. I can't move without abandoning hydration for an entire family. When it was just my girls, I could still move around the event and look at stuff, but now I'm basically anchored in place. Fast forward to tonight. We're at my daughter's dance concert. My sister-in-law wants to go take photos, walks up to me and goes to hand me her drink bottle like it's automatic. And I just said, "No." She looked confused, took it back, and then, shockingly, just put it down next to her where she was taking the photos. My wife saw this happen and later asked me why I said no. I told her I'm done being the drink bottle caddy. I miss out on so much stuff because I get lumped with everyone's drink bottles, and her sister has been adding to the pile. So I put an end to it. If she wants to bring a giant drink bottle that makes no sense to an event, then she can carry it all night long. My wife made a comment about how her sister would be going home wondering why, and asked when I'd been getting lumped with all the drink bottles. So I pointed out a few events, and she seemed to accept it. So, am I the asshole for finally refusing to be the unpaid drink bottle storage unit? Reddit is pretty united on this one. They say the solution isn't for OP to keep holding the bottles. It's for everyone else to learn to carry their own. The top suggestion? Get everyone water bottle slings or cup straps for Christmas and officially retire as the family drink caddy. Commenters point out there are tons of cute designs and crossbody style carriers made specifically for these giant Stanleys and similar bottles. They can be worn like a bag, clipped onto a purse, or held by a top handle, which would make it way more convenient and send a very clear message at the same time. Multiple people basically had the same idea. Don't fight about it. Just buy every woman in the family a bottle carrier as a holiday gift, and let the accessories do the talking. What do you think? Was OP fair to finally say no? Or should he have just kept holding the bottles to keep the peace? And would gifting everyone a bottle strap be a clever solution or a passive-aggressive move? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Am I the Asshole tales. Imagine losing the love of your life, keeping the ring as one of the few physical pieces of that story. And then, more than a decade later, his mom calls you up and asks you to hand it over. What do you do when the way you would grieve runs directly into the way someone else grieves? Am I the asshole for wanting to keep my engagement ring from my late fiancé? I'm using a throwaway because I really don't want the drama of this on my main Reddit. I hope you all understand. I, 36 female, lost my fiancé nearly 11 years ago in a car crash. We were both in the car, but I got out with only minor injuries while he died instantly. That messed me up quite a bit, and I was in and out of therapy and support groups for years because of it. The support group is where I met my current partner, 45 male. He's a widower who lost his wife to cancer, and we understood each other's pain a lot and bonded over it. 3 years ago, we started dating, and we moved in with each other last month. I've remained close with the family of my late fiancé since I lost him, and they were a great support to me in the first few years. However, his mother, 61 female, asked me last week for the ring he gave me back, since I'm now seriously involved with another man. She said she wanted the ring to keep in the family and that it would mean a lot to have it. This upset me. The ring he gave me wasn't a family ring. It's a garnet and emerald ring he picked out because those are our birthstones, and I didn't want a traditional diamond. We picked the ring out together, and he saved for months to get it for me. It holds a lot of beautiful memories for me, even if they're bittersweet. I'm now at a point where I can enjoy the good memories without too much pain. Me being in a relationship now doesn't mean I have this ring gathering dust in a drawer somewhere. I wear it on my right hand now, the same way my partner wears his wedding ring. We both feel it's okay to honor our lost loves this way, and neither of us has any jealousy or negative feelings over this. Hell, we have a picture of my fiancé and his wife on the wall of our living room. I told her I could understand if it had been a family ring he'd inherited, though that would still have made me feel a little weird to have her asking for it back. But it isn't a family ring. It's my ring that we picked out together, and I plan to wear it for the rest of my life. She insisted it should be back in the family, and that she wanted it as it was the last major purchase he made before he died. I ended up hanging up on her because I was so upset, and I've been avoiding her calls since. My partner is angry on my behalf that she even asked this, and told me she was being ridiculous and that I should wear the ring as long as I want to. I can't help but feel like I'm being punished for finding someone to make me happy, that I was supposed to mourn him forever in her eyes. I've spoken to my parents about this too, to get their insight on it, and my mom feels that maybe I should give the ring back, as his mother is clearly just hurting and wants to hold on to something of her son. My dad, meanwhile, says he can see both sides of this, and it's my choice. I don't know. I might be a bit too emotional over this. Am I being the asshole or unreasonable here? Edit. A couple of people seem confused. My current partner is not my new fiancé or my husband. I call him my partner because he feels, at his age, being called a boyfriend is a bit too humorous, as if he's young. If we are being technical, however, he is a boyfriend. We have only just moved in together. I am sorry if my wording caused any confusion. The top commenter focuses on one key point. I keep saying give the ring back, but there is no back to give it to. The ring isn't a family heirloom. It was bought specifically for me, and legally and emotionally, it belongs only to me. From their perspective, the mother asking for it is strange, but that's her issue to work through. I have every right to say no, keep the ring, and accept that if the mother chooses to be upset, that's on her, not on me. Another highly upvoted comment points out how odd the mother's justification sounds. Calling it his last major purchase really highlights that to her, it's just an expensive thing he bought that she wants to reclaim. To me, though, the ring is the symbol of our relationship, the entire purpose of an engagement ring. It was never the family's. It was always about the bond between me and my late fiancé, which is why it carries a completely different weight for me than it ever could for his mother. A third commenter reiterates that nothing needs to go back to the family when it was never in the family to begin with. The ring was chosen together. It's not sitting forgotten in a box, and I still actively wear it to remember him. They also note the timing. The mother only asked for the ring once I moved in with a new partner, which makes it seem like this is really about her discomfort with me moving on, not about the ring itself. Their advice is that if I want to keep any relationship with her, I should clearly say no, and make it known that any attempt to bring up the ring again will end the conversation immediately. What do you think? Do I owe my late fiancé's mother the ring, or is this a boundary I'm absolutely right to hold? How would you handle that phone call if you were in my shoes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more Am I the Asshole stories. An electrician dad, a brand new stepdad, and a union rulebook walk into a family drama. When a quick favor turns into a question of respect and professional boundaries, this co-parent has to decide what really matters. Would you bend the rules to keep the peace? Am I the asshole for refusing to do free work for my kid's stepfather? I'm an electrician and a union member. My ex and I share custody of our 3 kids. Things are okay now, but the divorce last year was rough. She got remarried in August to a guy she'd been dating for 6 months. Let's call him Brad. Here's where the issue kind of starts. A few weeks ago, Brad was at my daughter's volleyball game making comments like, "Real tradesmen don't need to be in a union." He said this right in front of me while I was wearing a shirt with my union logo on it. He works in the trades too, but he just does small, non-union IT data network jobs. I stayed calm and didn't bite. He's self-employed, and I know he barely makes a profit. My license also allows me to do all of his kind of work, at my pay rate. This morning, my ex called me out of the blue. She said a panel at one of Brad's jobs needed some work and asked if I could just swing by to check it out. She said, "You'd only need your tools for a few minutes. Just a quick favor, it's not a big deal, and you would be technically working for Brad." So when my ex asked for a quick favor, I told her, "I charge everyone the same rate, and per union rules, I can't just do a side job, it's gotta be done under my shop." She said, "You're really gonna force this issue with my husband?" I told her, "He can just have his own subcontractors or step up by paying me like everyone else does." Now she's saying I'm being petty and creating tension, claiming that I'm just making a stink because he lives with the kids. I told her that professionalism isn't petty, and that I don't give free labor to people who disrespect my trade. So am I the asshole for refusing to do free work for my ex's husband, even though it might make things awkward for my co-parenting relationship? Reddit was very clear about where they stood on this one. The top comment said you're not the asshole, and pointed out something pretty telling. If Brad were really the real tradesman he claims to be, and a real man about it, he would have called you himself instead of having his wife reach out and beg for a favor on his behalf. Another highly upvoted comment called out the hypocrisy. If real tradesmen don't need a union, then why is he suddenly relying on a union electrician to bail him out on a job? If non-union work is supposedly so superior, he should have plenty of non-union pros who can handle this better and cheaper. The commenter finished with a sarcastic NTA, highlighting how ridiculous the situation is. Someone else framed the whole thing as karma coming back around and thought it was hilarious. They even joked that your next union t-shirt should say, "So good your wife calls me for favors," and suggested taking the pettiness up a notch by getting that printed on shirts in your kids' sizes too. They admitted they could absolutely be that petty, and still said you're not the asshole. What do you think? Is the electrician dad just enforcing fair professional boundaries, or should he have sucked it up for the sake of smoother co-parenting? If you were in his shoes, would you have done the work for free, charged full price, or refused altogether? Let me know your verdict in the comments, and if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.